is the Patriots Drive Podcast.
We are all Patriots.
Where we discuss, analyze, and answer questions to all things happening in the NFL and with our New England Patriots. Now, here's your host, Cole Kelly.
Let's go!
Welcome into another edition of the Patriots Drive Podcast. Bye week. Patriots just had their bye week finally after 14 weeks this season, 13 games, 11-2 on the year. I mean, if you would have told me this is where they're going to be going into their bye week and now coming off of that, going at home versus Buffalo, I would have said you were crazy, but it's been one heck of a year so far and the biggest game of the year this year and probably the biggest game in the past half decade is coming up this weekend. So we're going to go over kind of the season so far, the best signings, worst signings, just kind of our overall thoughts, standings, maybe some predictions on the game this weekend and the rest of the season overall. But there's so much to get into. We haven't been here in a while, but I'm here with my co-host Chase Campbell. How's it going, Chase?
Yeah, it's going good. I mean, I think when we first looked at the schedule, you're like, man, the bye is so far away. It's 14 weeks into the season. And now you're sitting here and you're like, well, I don't think it could have came in a better time. You know, you got a couple big injuries that obviously are still going to miss this game, but some that you got back this week over the bye week. And it's just a great placement to have an extra week to prepare for Buffalo at home, all those things. So ended up working out really good. And yeah, it's going to be a fun one. I wish that they would have flexed this one. I get that they wouldn't have flexed it to Sunday Night Football because they already had Patriots Bills Sunday night, but I am still kind of mad that it's a 1 p.m. kickoff. I wish it was like a 4:25 one or something, but yeah, we'll take it. We'll take it when it is. I mean, we got the one against Baltimore flex to Sunday Night Football. So that's at least good.
Yeah. The Sunday Night Football game this week is like Cowboys versus somebody, I can't remember who it is. It's not like a great Vikings Cowboys. Not a super interesting matchup. Pats Bills for a potential hat and t-shirt game for the Patriots. Like it doesn't get better than this, especially the Bills, how they just won last week. They're kind of heating up a little bit. The Patriots are coming off another big win. It's a humongous game this weekend, and having that at 1 o'clock feels so disappointing.
Yeah.
Or even Monday night, Dolphins Steelers. So I don't know. I feel like this should have been in some type of primetime slot, but it is what it is.
Well, even you got the 4:25 games. You got the Panthers at the Saints, which the Panthers are 2-10. The Panthers are 2-10. Or no, the Saints are 2-10. Sorry, the Panthers are okay. Rams Lions will be fun. Matthew Stafford. Colts Seahawks was looking like it's going to be good, but now you got 44-year-old Phillip Rivers out there. Who knows what that game will be? Packers Broncos. The Patriots will have a lot of interest in that one for the number 1 seed, and then Titans Niners. Like you got another team that's 2-11 right there, and so you could have at least put it at 4:25. I would have been a little bit happier, but we'll take it when it is. I'm excited. Like you said, I think this is probably one of the biggest games in the last 5 years the Patriots have played in, especially being at home, one of the bigger ones there. Opportunity to win the AFC East for the first time in 5 years, take it away from Buffalo, secure, a top 4 seed in the playoffs, all that stuff. Like it's a huge game, and it's going to be really fun to watch. And I think this team's ready for it. Like, a couple years ago, that you're like, oh, they're competing. I think this team's ready for it. They've lived up to the hype. I mean, Patriots fans didn't even see this hype coming, right? Like we were like, oh, they're going to be improved. They're going to probably be, 8-9 win team, but we're sitting here week 14 and we're 11-2 coming off the bye. And you're like, holy crap, they've lived up to so many expectations. And now I think that Vrabel has them in a spot that's ready to go and win the AFC East and shock the world and stuff. So I'm super excited. I'm jealous of whoever can go to the game. If you guys are going to the game, that's going to be so fun. That's going to be an electric atmosphere.
This week is going to tell us a lot about the rest of the season. If the Pats get up for this game, hat and t-shirt game, like Vrabel said, it's a championship game. It's the AFC East championship game. If they win the AFC East. If they get up for this game and they go down there, or they at home and they just play an awesome game and beat Buffalo, I'm going to start like I'm at a point right now where I'm very excited for the postseason, but I'm also still at a point where I think all the schedule talk is way overblown, but you do have to pay attention to it a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We really haven't played a team that's one of the best teams in football in a while. Like at the time the Bills were there, at the time the Bucks were, but they were still beat up. Like it wasn't a fully healthy team. The Bengals were missing Burrow. We haven't played any really rolling teams that are supposed to be competing for Super Bowls this year. If you go beat the Bills, that's going to make me feel even better about our chances just in general. I mean, a lot of people are talking about the Patriots potentially being favorites to represent the AFC in the Super Bowl. Like that's insane. So I think over the next couple of weeks, you're going to learn a lot about this football team. If they can continue the win streak against Buffalo and then take advantage of Baltimore, who hasn't been playing great, I'm going to be very, very excited. So this week in particular is ginormous, not only for trying to get the 1 seed in the AFC, but just winning the division in general. That's what you got to focus on first. You can't take Buffalo lightly. If they lose this game, it's a one game gap between Buffalo and the Patriots. So you gotta really focus, lock in. It's a huge game at Gillette. The Bills have been way worse on the road than at home, so take advantage of it. It stinks that you're not going to have a few of your best players healthy for this game. That's what really worries me. I would feel much better if Milton Williams and Will Campbell were healthy, but it's going to be a tough one. People are going to have to step up, and hopefully they're up for the challenge.
Yeah, talking about all the schedule talk though, like I have a hard time looking at the standings right now, which we'll talk about the standings way more in depth here probably pretty soon. But 3 weeks ago, the Colts were one of the best teams in the NFL, and then they've lost a bunch of games. And so now they're out. You know, you lose to the Steelers when you had 5 turnovers. You had every right to win that game. They're leading the AFC North. You beat the Buccaneers, and they're leading the NFC South. And that's, you know, a bad division. I'm not saying there, but you know, like, I don't think Jacksonville's 9-4, but they don't scare me. Like, I would play them. The Broncos are 11-2, but they kind of have the same thing. Everyone's like, oh, they haven't played anyone, blah, 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 talking about all this stuff. The Chiefs, who everyone's like, oh, you haven't played the Chiefs. The Chiefs are 6-7. The Chiefs are not playing good football. They have an 11% chance to make the playoffs right now. And so you might call them, you know, oh, they're a good team, but they're not. Like, in reality, they're not. They have lost to bad teams. We'll see the Patriots play the Ravens. The Patriots already played Carolina, who at the time was not a good team, but now they're sitting at 7-6 with a chance to make the wild card or even win that division. So the whole NFL season right now is crazy. Like, there is not a clear-cut favorite. The Rams are really good. I'm excited to see what they continue to do, and they have a fun team with Puka, Matthew Stafford, and stuff. But you know, I think that they're right on par with the Patriots. Like, they both. So I don't know. I don't know who the clear-cut favorite is. Obviously, it's probably still Buffalo because they have Josh Allen, but we'll get to see this week.
I mean, Denver, like, I don't know. Like, it's funny how there's so much schedule talk for the Patriots, but Denver hasn't had a really tough schedule either. And they've also been trailing late in so many of these games. Like, they've snuck out. They beat the Giants on a last-second field goal to win it.
And they were down by like 30 points in the fourth. And they came back. I think
they're down 17, I think, or something like that.
I mean, at one point they were down 30 something. It might have been at halftime, but they were down like 30 something at one point.
Yeah, I don't know. It's the Broncos. Like, I'm just pulling up their
the Broncos scored 33 points in the fourth quarter to win.
That's right.
They had no points, so they were down 32-0, and they came back to win 33-32.
Yeah,
like, and that's
they
crazy.
Beat the Jets. They beat the Jets by 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. They beat the Titans by 8. They beat the Jets by 2. They beat the Giants by 1 on a last-second field goal. They beat the Texans by 3. The Raiders by 3. The Chiefs by 3. The Commanders by 1. Like, if I can't remember who their edge defender was that tipped the ball, but if they don't tip that in the Commanders game,
it was Nick Benito.
Yeah, Benito. If he doesn't tip that ball, they lose that game to the Commanders without Jaden Daniels. Like, you got to say something for their winning. They're on a win streak, and that's hard enough to do in itself. But they have almost lost a lot of games against some not great teams. So it's like, I don't know. I think it's so wide open. The AFC is so wide open. Take advantage of it. The Broncos have some tough games coming up. They play the Packers this weekend. After that, they play the Jags, the Chiefs, and then the Chargers. So they don't have any cakewalks the rest of the year. I think they'll probably win 2 or 3 of those games, but you never know. They could go 1-3. They could go 2-2. You got to take advantage, and you got a couple tough games coming up. Then you got the Jets, and then you got the Dolphins, who have been hot and could potentially sneak in the playoffs, which is crazy. So just a lot up in the air right now, and it's exciting. It's exciting to be in the mix for the potential 1 seed, and just a lot of big football coming up.
Yeah, let's we'll talk about schedule and what like all this stuff means, because we have kind of a breakdown and a clear picture of what the Patriots need to do in their remaining games to secure whether it's an AFC championship or, you know, the number 1 seed, whatever. But let's start off with just kind of talking about some bye week stuff. We'll start and we'll talk about who we think's been the biggest, most impactful signing off-season edition. Then we'll talk about maybe the biggest disappointment so far in the season, who may be someone that we were high on that hasn't quite performed. And then we'll talk about what we think has been the best game so far. There's really only a couple to choose from. But Cole, let's start with you. Let's talk about the biggest impact or the biggest offseason addition. Who's someone that you're super high on and have been super excited, and they've lived up to the hype so far?
Milton Williams. I mean, he was just, you don't see necessarily like the sack numbers, or like the numbers don't jump out to you on the screen necessarily, but just a down-to-down impact. People were talking about just, he got paid so much money. And when he signed that deal, you're like, wow, that's a lot for a guy who was kind of not a super high snap count on the Eagles defense. And did he benefit from all the other guys around him who were so good? And Milton just came in and been awesome. Him and Barmore next to each other have been phenomenal. It's a really big loss losing him versus Buffalo, because that's a guy that you want to pressure Josh Allen, get interior pressure quickly, give Barmore one-on-ones if he gets doubled. You can't let Josh Allen just have all day back there. And he has in the past against the Patriots a lot of years. And when he has all day, he makes big plays and he can get out of the pocket. They're just going to have a different game plan than they did last time, because Milt is a huge presence and he's just been phenomenal. So I cannot wait till he gets back. I really wish he was missing the Miami Jets games instead of the Baltimore and Bills games, but you can't plan around injuries in that sense. So I'm super excited for him to get back, hopefully healthy, and hopefully he's just as good as he was and can help us propel us to a deep playoff run.
Yeah, lived up to the hype for sure. All the money, and the interior of the defense has been so much improved, and it's helped us be one of the best teams against the rush. It's helped us push the pocket in the pass, and he's a huge part of that and stuff. And, you know, go ahead.
One thing real quick, just to finish that thought. Since he's been injured, and this has to do with Tonga too, because Tonga was out a little bit. So I don't know if you're going to touch on Tonga or not, so I won't touch on him.
Well, I was just going to say he wasn't the guy I was going to shut out, but I was going to say the addition of Kyrie's Tonga, even though it wasn't viewed like Milton Williams, he's been huge.
If you look at value-wise, Tonga's got probably the best free agent signing, just because they probably so cheap, and he's made such a big impact on offense.
They probably need to start talking extension with him.
I think I absolutely think so. But anyways, just as soon as Milton Williams went down, they had, up to that point, had the best rushing defense in football by far. Like it was dominant. They were great with him and Tonga and Barmore and all those guys. Since he's gone down, since Tonga's missed a little bit of time here, they have been, over that span without them, they've been one of the worst run defenses in football, which is really scary when James Cook and the Buffalo is coming to town. So Tonga was back at practice. Thank God. Hopefully he's ready to go this weekend, because they really could use him. But that's something that doesn't get talked about enough either, is Milton he's been good this year in the run game as well as the pass game, and just a really impactful player. So I just wanted to shout that aspect of it out, because the numbers have been jarring. Without him and Tonga, it's a completely different run defense.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and they've tried to lean more on what Corey Durden and then Joshua Farmer, but Joshua Farmer missed a game also, I believe, and he's still a rookie, so he's got a ways to go. If Tonga comes back this week, because he's known more for his run stuffing, I'll feel a little bit better about being able to stop the run. Obviously not as good as if both of them were back, but Tonga in the run defense is going to be a huge addition, hopefully, to Buffalo.
And the offensive running game. They've struggled. They have had almost the same success in 3rd and 1 as they have in 3rd and 7 this year, because they just can't. They're awful in short yardage situations. And Tonga, when he was in here, they were solid at that. They were getting 3rd and 1. They were getting first downs in the goal line. They were putting them in there. They were scoring touchdowns. They've really struggled in the short area run game recently, and they don't have that fullback. Tonga was doing a good job. So we'll see if he mixes in there at all in a big game like this. But yeah, he's made a huge impact on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, against Cincinnati, when you get stuffed on the goal line a couple times in 2 drives and stuff, you would have
12
used him.
times in a row.
Yeah, could have used him. So, my guy for who I think has been the best signing would be Stephon Diggs. And this is a guy who there was a lot of questions coming around him, right? Coming off of an ACL, he's 32 years old. He was ready for week 1. He leads the team in receiving with 705 receptions on the year. He has 69 catches, which is good enough, 64, which also leads the team by a good amount. Like it's almost 20. He leads Hunter Henry has 45. Stephon Diggs has 64 receptions. And so he's leading the team. You would like to see his touchdown total be a little bit more. He only has 3 receiving touchdowns, but we finally have a guy who I feel comfortable with to get the ball to on 3rd down. And like when you need to go to him, he's always open. He has that veteran presence. And he's been a great locker room guy. People have they tried to knock that. Like, he's not good. He's a cancer. Like, he has been great for that locker room. There was a little bit of a weird part with, the boat incident that he had and stuff, but you see the videos with Josh McDaniels and stuff, and he's like, what do you need me to reiterate? Like, what do you need me to tell the team? And like, he's engaged, he's involved. He had a huge game against Buffalo last time we played him where he had 10 receptions for 146 yards. See if he can replicate that. I'm sure Buffalo will try to take him away, but he has been a huge blessing for this passing attack, just his veteran presence and what he's brought for Drake May. I've loved the signing.
Yeah, that, like you just mentioned, 3rd down, that's one of the biggest things that I've seen with him as well, is just when you need a big catch, he's there. It's late in the game. I think it was against the Bengals. Late in the game, you needed a 3rd down conversion basically to win the game, and he's there and he makes a catch. It's just he's been lights out. Early in the season, after that Buffalo game, and then he had a couple games after where he was getting a ton of catches, ton of targets, and it was like, this guy might be like over 1,000-yard receiver, like 100 catches, like he was getting a lot of targets and being very productive. That has slowed down a little bit, but he's still been a great presence, like you said, in the locker room, which wasn't talked about. And then just when you need a catch, he's been there. It hasn't been the same volume, but it's been the magnitude of the catches that he's made has been huge. So we'll see if they play it differently this week versus Buffalo, because like you said, he absolutely dominated them. He was the key to winning that game, along with Drake May being Superman. But one thing that I just saw Lazar tweeted earlier was that Benford only covered Diggs on 4 of 22 routes in week 5. And Diggs was mostly on Tre'Davious White. So does Benford end up following him and trailing him for most of the game? That's something that we'll have to pay attention to as well. And then somebody else might have to step up.
Yeah, I'm excited to see that matchup. He has 705 yards this year, so he's only 295 off of getting to 1,000 yards. He'd have to average about 75 yards a game, and we'll see. It's doable. He could have one big game, right? And then that's been the thing, is looking through his stats and stuff. The last 2 games he's only had 20 plus receiving yards. Like, he hasn't passed 30 in the last 2. Now they haven't really needed him, but still, it would have been nice to see him go for 70 or 80 a little bit more, instead of having like the 100, 146 games and then the 20. Like, get him a little bit more action and stuff in these games. So we'll see how he finishes out against the last 4. Excited to see there. Let's talk about the biggest disappointment. It doesn't have to just be a signing. Like, we can talk about anyone who you had higher expectations going into the year, and they just haven't quite had the expectations live up to it, the hype, the stats, whatever it is. Who's one of your guys?
So I don't want to crap on this guy too much, because he one game recently, he did have a great end to his game, and he's been okay. I just thought Carlton Davis with a $20 million per year contract was going to be more dominant than he has been. He's just had a lot of penalties, it feels like, in big spots. It feels like every time the ball is being thrown his way and I see him on screen, I'm like, oh God, I don't have high hopes for it. So there's been times where he's been better, times where he struggled a little bit. And then another guy, I guess I would say, is Ramondre. Just he's turned it around since the fumble issues early in the season, but still just hasn't been himself. The run game in general has been really disappointing this year. I thought it was going to be way better. But overall, just honestly one of the worst rushing offenses in football, which isn't great. So you're putting a lot on the back of Drake May, putting a lot on his shoulders, which is why another reason I think he deserves to be the MVP. He doesn't have Puka and Devontae Adams and Kyron Williams and Blake Corum and Sean McVay as his head coach OC. like another MVP candidate. But
we have Mike Vrabel and Josh McDaniels even better.
Yeah, exactly. And Keyshawn Boutte and Stephon Diggs over Puka
Even
and
better.
Devontae for sure. Yeah. No. So yeah, there's been a handful of things that have kind of disappointed me. I'm glad to see the early game defense, like first drive defense, has been a little bit better in the past couple weeks. Hopefully that continues this week. But overall, I would say a little bit of Hermandre, a little bit of Carlton Davis, just kind of a mix there.
Yeah, I was gonna say Carlton Davis also. I do have another guy, but Carlton Davis has been. You were hoping that him and Christian Gonzalez were like the 1-2 punch, right? And I agree. Yeah. It feels like it's been a huge drop off. Now he has a chance to resurge himself in these last 4 games. He has not had an interception yet. He dropped a very bad one.
Oh my God!
Against was it the Giant? It was like the Giants, right? Or was it Cincinnati? It would have been the last game we just played.
I think it was the Giants.
Yeah. I mean, it was right in his hands. And he's only finished his career, or sorry, he's only had 1 season where he did not finish with an interception, and that was his rookie year. So hopefully he changes that. Hopefully he gets a pick because I would love to see that, because teams really aren't challenging Christian Gonzalez. Like, they're not throwing it his way consistently. They're looking to go to Carlton Davis. I would like to see him have a little bit more success. And like you said, a little bit less pass interference calls against him. My guy that I want to talk about, and I'm not going to say that I was super high on him, but I think Patriots fans had a lot of expectations because of the new offensive coordinator coming in, and that's Demario Douglas. I just have not, like, he's had his fair share of games. Like, don't get me wrong. He's had some games where he's gone off. He's had big, long receptions, but I did not think we'd be sitting here at week 14 with him only having 402 receiving yards. Like, it's been a little bit concerning. I thought there would be more involvement in the offense with him, used as the slot. But that's kind of been the Stephon Diggs role too. Like, Diggs has kind of taken that over. So I don't think he's necessarily been as bad as like a Carlton Davis or as disappointing as Carlton Davis, but there was a lot of hype going into, he's going to be the Edelman, the Welker role. He's going to have a lot of targets. He's going to have that. And he just hasn't quite been that yet. I mean, we can go back and talk about the Raiders game, right? Where he doesn't go forward and we get tackled on 4th down by an inch and things like that. So you can talk about all this stuff where he could have, had this more of an impact. And he's done his fair share. Like, you go look at all of his games and stuff and some of the stats, if I'm thinking of it right now, I can't pull up my stats, but he had a really good game against, who's the one where he had
Saints.
Was it the Saints? 2 long touchdowns.
One of them got called back too.
Yeah. But so, you're looking at that and you're like, okay, he's had his fair share of stuff. But for where I think Patriots fans had their expectations on Demario Douglas and what they thought he could get to this year, I just don't think it's quite been that exciting. So a little bit down on Demario Douglas. Again, I don't think our receiving core is elite. It's definitely improved, and it's a lot of really solid guys, but I do think Drake May is bringing these guys' play up, and if you could still add a number 1 receiver, and now Stephon Diggs is your number 2, this is a different type of offense, because, I mean, believe it or not, Drake May is the only quarterback in the NFL that hasn't thrown for over 300 yards. He was 1 play away from doing it last week, but it got called back. So, but for him to do all that without having a 300-yard game, kind of insane.
Yeah, it's so dumb. Like, he would have had the 300-yard game. He would have had a 3rd touchdown, like MVP odds. Like, it just, it stinks. And then you got Stafford, who's throwing for 17 1-yard touchdowns to Devontae Adams. It's like, all right, like, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Pop has been, if you can't tell, I'm a little salty about the MVP race.
Yeah, you text me all the time about it. You're like, who's going to be MVP? Because, like, same thing, Josh Allen had the crazy, and it really was, he had a great game, but I mean, they kind of get back into it because the Bengals shot themselves in the foot. And now you're like, Josh Allen. I mean, I'm not taking it away. It's going to be fun to see who wins that division and who wins the MVP race, especially with Stafford. But yeah, it's never seems to be Drake May. It's always someone else will do something more. And it's like, man, come on.
It took Stafford throwing like 17 picks and fumbles for Drake May to finally be the favorite for 1 week. And then he's on his bye week and Stafford has a couple touchdowns and is the favorite again by a lot. It's like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
They're just going to give it to him because he's old and he hasn't had one yet. But anyways,
let's talk about, I mean, do you have anyone else that disappointed or has been disappointing?
I do think Pop is a good one just because in McDaniel's system, like you said, you expected him to be more of a volume guy, even though he's smaller and may not be the perfect guy for that. That just, you feel like a guy who's that shifty being a slot guy in McDaniel's offense makes a lot of sense. And hasn't really been that guy in a sense. He's made some big plays though. Like even the Bengals game, he made that huge play. It was a great throw by Drake May, but that was a big play to get him out of their own end zone and get him some much needed yardage on a critical third down. So he has made some huge plays. I will give him that, but it just hasn't been as consistent as you kind of thought it would be for a role in this offense for him.
Yeah. Let's talk about Cole. What's been, I mean, I think I know the answer to this so far into this season. What's been your favorite game? What's been the funnest game? I mean, there's been a lot of really fun ones because we haven't experienced winning like this. Is it Buffalo? I mean, that's probably the easy answer.
I would say probably the best game would be Buffalo, and probably my favorite because that was the first time where you're like, oh my God, we just beat the Bills at their place where they never lose.
Yeah.
And Drake May looked like Superman. Like he looked like Josh Allen on that night, and Allen did not look like himself. So it was like, oh wow. That was the first thing there. But I don't know if this will surprise people or not, but my kind of favorite game recently, at least since then, that Giants game was a blast. The fact that this team I thought was going to take this as a easy game, and I thought it was going to be like down to the wire, maybe even the Giants win. I thought it was going to be a trap game for sure. And they came out after all the injuries they've had and dragging into the bye week. I thought they were going to be just dead, no energy. And they came out so physical immediately. They were flying around. They were hitting people. Christian Gonzalez was laying the wood on Wan'Dale Robinson. He had a big hit there. Christian Ellis was all over the place. Like it was just, it was really fun. Marcus Jones had another punt return for a touchdown. It was just an all around 3 phases fun game, and they were physical. And May was awesome again. It was a good game. I enjoyed that one.
Yeah, my favorite one up to this point, obviously other than the Bills ones, I like the Tampa Bay game. That's another one where you go on the road to a team who at the time was 6-2, and the Patriots were 7-2 going into that game. And so huge game there, in their place. Drake May throws for 270 and 2 touchdowns. The Travion Henderson breakout game where he has 2 long carries, had 147 rushing yards on 2 touchdowns. And then he also had the absolute beauty of a throw to Kyle Williams, who had his first touchdown of a 72-yarder. So that's another one that kind of sticks out to me that, hey, okay, yeah, you beat Buffalo, and then you go and you beat New Orleans and Tennessee, and then you beat Cleveland and Atlanta. Like you had that stretch there where you did not play good teams, and now it's like, okay, let's see how they play on the road in Tampa Bay now against a really good offense. Now, that offense has pulled back the last couple of weeks, but at the time, that was a huge game for the Patriots in Tampa Bay against one of the better NFC offenses, and they had a real and honestly too, like we talk about one of the harder defenses to play against, it's a Todd Bowles coach defense because of
Absolutely.
how much they blitz, and I thought Drake May handled it very well.
He's been one of the best blitzing quarterbacks in the NFL this year.
Yeah, he understands it, and I think that's a huge testament to Diggs too. Stephon Diggs has been so good at being open really quickly and stuff, and everyone and like McDaniels. That's just Josh McDaniels, right? That's McDaniels scheming it up. But that was a fun game to see the 2 rookies break out a little bit there, and then also go on the road and beat a team who a lot of people were like, oh yeah, the schedule hasn't been good, and it's like, okay, well, we just went into Tampa Bay and beat them, so now we're 8-2. What do you think? So that was another one that I enjoyed.
Yeah, that was an awesome game. There's really been a bunch. But if they beat Buffalo at home next week, that will be my new favorite game.
I agree.
It's just an absolutely enormous game. So I really hope they don't lay an egg. I hope they go out there and compete their butts off. And Mike Vrabel's 6-0 coming off the bye in his career as a head coach. So really hope that goes to 7-0.
I do too. That would be awesome. Let's talk a little bit before we get into the actual Bills game. Let's talk a little bit about the standings. So right now, the Patriots have the 2 seed. Them and the Broncos are tied at 11-2. Now, Cole, explain this to everyone, why they're tied. Right now, we do not hold the tiebreaker, so things need to happen.
Yeah. So right now, and this can't change the rest of the year. The rest of the season, the Broncos will have the tiebreaker no matter what. Their win against the Raiders clinched that. So it goes by conference record, and it goes by record against common opponents. We lost to the Raiders in week 1, which is unbelievable to think about now. And they beat the Raiders twice. So they have a 7-2 conference record. They also have the win against common opponent. So they have the tiebreaker. If the Patriots want to go ahead of them by the end of the year, they have to have a better record. They cannot be tied. So that's where things stand right now. The Patriots have the Bills, Ravens, Jets, Dolphins left on their schedule. So a couple hard games. Maybe Miami ends up being a tough game. It looks like it might end up being closer than people originally thought by the end of the year. And the Broncos have Packers, Jags, Chiefs, Chargers. So those are four pretty tough games, I would say. Most three of those are against playoff teams right now, and then there's the other one's the Chiefs on Christmas. So the Broncos don't have a super easy schedule either. The Patriots this week can clinch a playoff spot and clinch the AFC East with a win versus Buffalo. If they lose, they can still clinch, but it would have to be a couple weird scenarios where like the Texans are tying in their game and then like the Jags tie or something weird like that, some odd scenario. So basically win and you're in, and that's it. Simple as that. You clinch the AFC East, you clinch a playoff spot, you're into the playoffs. And then from there, that's when stuff gets interesting. Do the Broncos lose this week? And then you have the 1 seed, and then you're going into going down to Baltimore for Sunday Night Football. And if you win that, things get really interesting if you win this week, especially if the Broncos lose. Then you kind of you're in the driver's seat for the number 1 seed in the AFC and the bye week, which would be huge because if you can get the bye week and Will Campbell gets fully healthy and he's fully ready to go for the first game of the playoffs, that would be great. You don't want to have to rush him back and have to have week 18 versus Miami be for the division. You know what I mean? That's not what you want to see. So go win this game this week. It would be huge for the standings in general.
And one thing just to ease Patriots fans' mind, if the Patriots were to lose to the Bills, they would be within a game. Now, let's say how do tiebreakers work in divisions, right? It's obviously head-to-head. The Patriots and Bills would be tied 1-1. So you'd move to the next one, which would go down to best win-loss tied percentage in games played within the division. So if the Patriots lose to Buffalo, they would fall to 3-1 in the division. Buffalo would move to 4-2. As long as the Patriots don't lose. Oh, yeah, sorry.
Bills would go to 3-2. Yep.
Yeah, and as long as my point is as long as the Patriots don't lose to either Buffalo or the Jets in the last 2 weeks of the season, they would hold the tiebreaker. Now, if they lose to one of those teams and they end with the same record and the same division record, then it would go to the best win-loss percentage in common games, and that would, we'd obviously have to go look at there. But right now,
victory, all that stuff.
Right now, you're looking at, hey, if they end with the same record, the Patriots cannot lose to the Jets or the Dolphins. They need to stay with one division loss, and that only loss should be to Buffalo because Buffalo right now has lost to the Patriots and the Dolphins. And so you have that upper hand. So there's a little bit of mine like, okay, yeah, it's not the end of the world. It's not really close here, but that would be the ideal thing is, yes, you do not want to get into a tiebreaker, but say they were to lose to Buffalo and the Ravens and Buffalo runs the table, as long as they don't lose to either the Jets or the Dolphins, they would still own the tiebreaker and get that division title. So that's where we're sitting there in the AFC East.
So that's kind of why I said the whole thing about Miami is because if you do lose the next 2 weeks and Buffalo runs the table, it would be week 18 versus the Dolphins for the division. Yep. You have to win that game to win the AFC East, and that's not what you want to happen. You'd never want to have to deal with that. A division game that late in the year to win the division, that's tough. So
of course, unless the Bills drop another one, which they finish with obviously New England, Cleveland, they play the Eagles on December 28th, and then they play the Jets. So that's
probably the only game. If they beat the Patriots, that's the only game they have a shot of losing the rest
You're
of the
looking
year.
At the Eagles game 100%.
And the Eagles looked like trash last night.
Did.
So,
but the Eagles are the same as like the Bills, in my opinion, where they look bad 1 week, but they still have all the talent in the world and stuff. So, that will be interesting to see how that all plays out. But the good thing is like you said, and like Mike Vrabel said, like this is a championship game this week. Like it's not the end of the world if they lose, but coming off a bye week, Mike Vrabel will have these guys ready to go, and it's at home. The fans will be into it, and you have a chance to lock up the AFC East for the first time in 5 years. Mike Vrabel will have this team ready, and I'm super excited for it.
Yeah, I wish that the Bills had to play the Dolphins at Miami instead of the Browns.
Yeah,
because I think I'd feel decent about Miami potentially winning that game.
Yeah.
But they already played Miami and lost. So,
yeah, I mean, but you look at the Dolphins schedule, and like the Dolphins they're playing a lot better football, but The Steelers game this week is no pushover in Pittsburgh. Like, that team has proven they can win.
I think they win that game. I don't think
I mean,
the Steelers
I'm
are
not
good.
saying I favor Pittsburgh, but Pittsburgh just beat Baltimore. No one thought that. And I get Baltimore's playing bad football, but still, like, Pittsburgh is a capable team. They also play the Bengals and they also play the Bucks. Like, those are not 3 easy wins. Those are not the Jets or the Bills or the Browns like the Bills have. Those are 3 teams that have dudes and have the ability to beat them. And so, yeah, I mean,
I'd be surprised if
we're
they
not
won.
talking about the Dolphins schedule because we're not really worried about them in the division. But I don't know if they'll be on a 9-game win streak going into the Patriots game. That would be my only.
I'd be surprised if they won the next 3 games. I think they could beat the Steelers. I think they'll probably lose to the Bengals, and then the Bucks maybe a toss up, like depending on health. If Mike Evans is back and they're actually playing well and Baker's getting healthy, then that's one thing. So I don't know. It could be interesting because the Chiefs and the Dolphins have the same record right now. The Dolphins could end up squeaking into the playoffs potentially. The Colts aren't going to win another game the rest of the year.
Well, you don't believe in Phillip Rivers?
Have you seen their schedule?
I have, but come on, Phillip Rivers, man.
This
Believe in
is
Phillip.
This is the Colts' last 4 games. Seahawks loss, Niners loss.
We don't know that.
Jags loss, Texans loss. They are not going to win another game.
We don't know that.
So that's going to drop them to 8-9 on the season. I don't know. I still think Kansas City has a shot of sneaking in.
I mean, they probably will somehow, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. This is the year in the NFL where I feel like there's the most parity. Like,
So
you're
much.
looking at it like I just said, like, the Dolphins were written off a couple weeks ago. Now they have a chance to make the playoffs. They've rattled it off. Like, they've totally resurged their team. You just talked about the Texans a couple weeks ago too. They were written off and now they're in. Indianapolis was the best team in the NFL record-wise a couple weeks ago. Now they have a season-ending injury to their quarterback and they've lost 3 straight, or 4, I think it was 4 of their last 5, and they're not looking like that. And so there's so much parity. I mean, even the Chiefs and the Eagles, like, look at those 2 teams who were in the Super Bowl last year. Those teams are not in a spot to, like, win the NFC or AFC right now. They'd have to have a lot happen, and it could, but yeah, like, there's so much parity. I don't think we can say anyone's a win. Like, we could. So it's interesting. I'm excited to see how these last couple of weeks play out. The good thing is, and I love it when it's this way, you just want it to play out. If the Patriots win, they win the division. Just take care of business. Don't rely on other teams. And it's going to be a dogfight because you know that Buffalo and Josh Allen do not want to lose the division. They do not want to give it back to New England. Like, they don't.
No.
So it's going to be a dogfight.
It's an even bigger game for them than it is for us because if they lose this game, it's over for them division-wise. If we lose this game, we could still win the division. You know what I mean? So it's an even bigger game for them. Josh Allen, I think Josh Allen is better than Patrick Mahomes
This year, probably. Yeah.
I
mean, last year he was MVP. So yeah.
So much. I just think what he can do, his offense, James Cook, they rely on a lot. I get that part, but what he can do is so special. And then you look at Mahomes, and 90% of their offense is him throwing behind the line of scrimmage to Rashee Rice or his receivers, and Andy Reid drawing up these weird ass plays. And like, it's just so much of Andy Reid's offense and letting his playmakers make plays. You don't see Mahomes like stepping back and just making ridiculous throws, having a 50-yard bomb for a touchdown. Like, you don't see that nearly as much as you used to. It's just so much behind the line of scrimmage, short stuff, like 8 yards to Kelsey in the soft spot of a zone. I don't know. It's just he's still a very good player. He's still a very special player. But I just feel like Josh Allen has such a game-breaking ability with his legs and what he can do. It's just he can lose you games really quickly when you're on the other team. And I'm scared to play him. So I'd love to lock this up. And that would make you feel obviously even better about if you have to play the Bills in the playoffs. You know what I mean? So you want to be playing at home. You don't want to have to go down to Buffalo. If you play them in the playoffs, they're so much better there. They average.
The last couple of years, the last times we beat Buffalo, it's been in their house when Scuba Suit Max or Mac Jones did it there. And then, you beat them there this year. So no, I agree with you.
Buffalo is like 6 or 7 and 1 at home this year. And their record is like way worse on the road. They also average like 8 points per game more at home than on the road. And their EPA per play is way better at home than on the road. Like, they're just, so far this year, they've been great at home and they just have been okay on the road. So you hope you get that same trend and you hope the Patriots beat them and that would be great.
Yeah. I mean, this is kind of a resurgence here in the NFL of like the dominance of defenses. I felt like the last 3 or 4 years, it's been offensive oriented. You've seen the Chiefs, you've seen them and stuff. This year, you got teams like the Texans, or, like you just said, Dominic, like the Texans are super defensive oriented. I don't think the Patriots are only defensive oriented like they have been in the past, but Vrabel's like they put the emphasis on the defense. And, you look at like the Broncos, that is a defensive oriented team. And so you're seeing a little bit more of these defensive oriented schemes and head coaches that are, kind of catching up to the 8 ball of the Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen's, and things like that. And yeah, Josh Allen is so scary because he can always hurt you with his feet. You saw it in the game against Cincinnati, and he's the only quarterback in the NFL that can do that. If you ask Buffalo Bills fans, like Drake May's never done that a day in his life. But come on, guys, let's be honest here.
Yeah, I don't know. Drake May can absolutely do a lot of the same things Allen can, but he's just, I don't know. Josh, I don't want this to be a Josh Allen Glaze session, but like I don't think anybody runs the ball like he does. Even Lamar Jackson, like he's shiftier and stuff, but Josh Allen is so quick for his size, and he can truck a linebacker, and he's fine. Like,
yeah, but the touchdown run he had. The touchdown run he
didn't get touched. He didn't get touched.
It was cover 0, and the corner was looking at no one even looked at him. Like he made a great escape and he ran down the field. Like I'm not discrediting it because yes, it is great, but like I promise you, if Drake May made that exact same escape and stuff, he's running that too. He's doing the exact same thing.
No, I agree. I'm not talking about that play in particular. I'm just saying in general. Just he's hard to bring down. You see him in the pocket a lot, getting hit a little bit and just escaping and running for a first down. It's just like, I don't know. He's a special player, and you don't want to play him in the playoffs. You don't want to play Mahomes in the playoffs. You'd rather play one of these teams that has a less proven quarterback. You'd rather play a Trevor Lawrence or even a Justin Herbert or Bo Nix. Like I'd rather play these guys than a Josh Allen Bills team. Their defense hasn't been great, and that might be their downfall this year, but their offense, even with their lack of receivers, I worry about that offense.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. So, Dom, that is a really good bet right there. 20-1 for the Texans. You got them right before they went on their winning streak, and that's probably going to hopefully pay out good for you. Hopefully not.
I'd probably cash out in the next couple weeks, or if
because they're not beating the Patriots. Come on, let's be honest here. They're not winning it now, but speaking of betting, let's take a quick break and hear about our sponsors over at Underdog. And when we get back, we'll preview the Bills game just a little bit more. This video is sponsored by Underdog Fantasy. At Underdog Fantasy, you can pick higher or lower on 2 or more players for your chance to win 20, 30, or even 1,000 times your money in a single night. The best part about Underdog Fantasy is it's available in 33 of the 50 states. So what are you waiting for? Use code PATSDRIVE and get your first deposit matched up to $1,000 and join the millions of fans who have won on Underdog Fantasy. Make sure to download the app on the App Store or go to UnderdogFantasy.com. Yeah, and make sure you guys use code PATSDRIVE. Again, it's up in the top right, or there's a link in the bio to support the channel. We appreciate it. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe. I know it's been a while since we've been on a live stream. But we will have way more. If you guys have followed this channel for a while, starting in January, the first Monday of January, I'll start doing mock draft Mondays. I know we're still in playoff contention, but I love draft season. And so I'll be doing mock draft Mondays, start talking about draft prospects, things like that. And I actually got credentialed to the Senior Bowl this year. So if I can make it work, I might be going there and might be getting YouTube and Instagram stuff. We support. Let's biggest last year. I mean, they haven't and so it's going to be fun. What's your biggest concern going into this game? I know you talked a little bit about not having some of the big guys, but what's your biggest concern as we go in and we prepare for Buffalo?
I would say stopping the run. James Cook and that running game is the engine of their offense. And if you let James Cook run, Josh Allen is going to murder you because he's going to make you pay for bringing a bunch of bodies in the box. So I would say the key to stopping that offense first is James Cook and that rushing offense. And then next, you just got to do your best to contain Josh Allen. That's really it. That's the biggest keys there. You don't want to over pursue. their receivers aren't anything special. They got Shakir. He's their best guy. Outside of that, there's nobody who really scares you. The only thing, tight ends killed the Patriots last time. You don't want to continue to let these guys kill you, but he goes to Kincaid a lot. He goes to Dawson Knox a lot. That's another aspect that they really, I think, are going to attack the Patriots with. So first, you got to focus on the running game, and then those other things you need to pair with it as well.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the stats, Buffalo's the best rushing team in the NFL. They average right under 158 yards per game. It's actually really interesting. Away, so on the road, even though they don't have a good record on the road, they average 180 rushing yards per game, and at home it's only 136. So I mean, they're like they run the ball good on the road. But I agree with you. Stopping James Cook and containing Josh Allen. If you make Josh Allen have to throw the ball down the field and stuff, I firmly believe that if you make Khalil Shakir, Keon Coleman, guys like that beat you, then it's not likely they're going to pull out a win. Now, if you let Josh Allen run around, scramble, all that stuff, if you don't keep him in the pocket, that's when it's going to get scary, because that's when the guys can break loose. It's really hard to cover guys for 7 or 8 seconds. And so stopping the run with James Cook and then getting pressure on Josh Allen, even if you don't bring him down, sacks, pressures, hits, whatever it is, you need to get pressure on him so he doesn't feel comfortable and he doesn't just, be able to sit there and pick you apart in whatever coverage you're in. So, we'll see. Like I said, I have a lot of faith in Mike Vrabel. Like, this staff is so well prepared. Josh McDaniels and them get these guys so ready to play. It's not going to be a lack of effort thing. It's not going to be like they weren't ready for the game, because Mike Vrabel will have them ready to go. Like, there's no doubt about it. And even if they're not ready to go, the fans will get them ready to go, because that place will be bumping on Sunday at 1 p.m. So we'll see how that one goes. What's obviously looking forward to the game. The biggest matchup of the game is going to be Drake May versus Josh Allen. Like, that's what everyone's looking for, 2 MVP candidates. But I really think it starts with the running game. And I know it's been really hard for the Patriots to get it going. They're 21st in the NFL with 112 yards per game. They haven't quite had that success. And so playing good offense is also playing good defense against Josh Allen, because if he's not on the field and you're controlling clock, now I don't want to see them only throw the ball 3 times like they did 4 years ago when they beat Buffalo there. But you have to be able to be efficient on the ground. You have to win first down so you get yourself in third and second and easy conversion situations. So that would be my biggest concern, is not having the run game get going. And then, playing the opposite of it with the Bills is their run game is, keeping our offense on the field or off the field, and we can't move the chains and stuff because we're getting in 3rd and 8s, 3rd and 9s because we can't run the ball effectively.
Yeah. Joey Bosa versus Vidarian Lowe.
Oh, God.
Another thing you gotta worry about. One thing, touching on the run game for the Bills as well, James Cook has had some fumbling issues recently, especially in the red zone. He's fumbled twice in the red zone. Technically a 3rd time, but they said he fumbled out of bounds and not in the back of the end zone. Almost a touchback in that Bengals game. But he's been fumbling a little bit. Attack that football. Try to get that out, because that was a huge key to the Patriots win last time, was a few turnovers. It was an uncharacteristic half for the Bills. They were just bad. So if you can force some turnovers, win the turnover margin, focus on stopping the run game and all the things we just talked about. And then you got to protect Drake May. Just give him as much time as you can. And hopefully the run game is serviceable. That's really what you hope.
Yeah, I was going to say the exact same thing you just said. Winning the turnover margin, forcing either fumbles or picks. And then the other big one the Patriots have not been good at the last couple of weeks is scoring touchdowns in the red zone. You're going to have to score 6 points in the red zone and then make the PAT. You cannot you cannot get in the red zone 4 times and kick 2 or 3 field goals. You need to score touchdowns in the red zone against this team, or else Josh Allen is going to make us pay. So getting in the red zone, scoring, punching it in with touchdowns is going to be another huge factor to this game that, they might have gotten away with against the Jets and the Bengals, but you're probably not going to be able to have much success if you do that against the Bills.
Yeah, that's absolutely huge. Their red zone offense right now has been one of the biggest things that has been holding them back. And even though they're winning these football games, it's the reason they've been close. The Bengals game should have never been close. They had 3 opportunities in the red zone that they really should have scored, and they didn't. Same thing with the Giants. They had a few opportunities that they had to kick field goals, and they couldn't punch the ball in. So, yeah, that's another huge factor there. You got to come away with 7. You got to make the Bills pay when you get down the field and into the red zone there. And hopefully, if you let the Bills get into the red zone, your red zone defense is a little bit better than it's been. But the Bills are pretty good once they get into the red zone as well.
Yeah, the Patriots are 30th in the NFL their last 3 games in the red zone, 33% touchdown percentage. So that is no bueno. That is not going to be a recipe for success to win this game. If that's what you're doing, you're going to have a hell of a performance by the defense. Yeah. Like you're going to have to stop Josh Allen significantly. So
absolutely.
But no, I'm super excited, man. I hope if anyone listening is going to the game, you guys are loud and crazy, even, if it's a close game, like obviously if it's a close game, but like we're going to need the fan support, like make it feel like back in the Brady days where it's got to be loud. It's got to be hard for them to communicate, get some pre-snap penalties. It's going to be fun. I'm excited to watch it on TV. I haven't been this nervous or anxious or excited for a game in a while. Like finally playing meaningful football into December. It's really refreshing to have back on our screens as Patriots fans.
Feels like a playoff game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, in a way it is because it's not win or go home. It is for the Bills, not for the Patriots, but you're playing for a conference championship. That is not easy. I know some Patriots fans take that for granted because they won 11 straight or whatever. But I mean, we haven't done it in 5 years. Like this is something that we have not experienced in 5 years. And so this is a huge deal and a huge point in the Patriots franchise after Tom Brady. Like this would be the first one since when Brady left. It would be a huge piece of Mike Vrabel, establishing himself here in the offseason. We'll have to talk about the Mike Vrabel hiring because, I mean, obviously everyone wanted Ben Johnson, but man, Mike Vrabel has just been so freaking fun to watch. He's such a great coach. I'm so glad that we got him in this cycle and we don't have to go through coaching because like the candidates this year don't excite me. Like there's a couple there that I'm like, not bad. But man, Mike Vrabel would have been the top dog in this candidate or in this coaching cycle for sure. So we're lucky to have him there.
Yeah, no, I agree. He's been everything you would want in a coach. And you just hope him and McDaniels are together for a long time here.
I hope so too. But you got anything else?
Go Pats.
Go Pats. I know. I'm super excited. Guys, if you have not already, like the video, subscribe, drop your predictions down below, score predictions. We would give you guys like the odds right now, but it's only a Tuesday, so it's going to move so much. Plus, it's like
Bills are favored by 1.5 right now.
Yeah, I figured. I'm not going to lie. I mean, I know all the hypes around the Patriots, but it's Buffalo. It's Buffalo and Josh Allen, and so
which really means at a neutral site, it would be like a 4.5 because it's like 3 points for home, and Pats are at home, so they think the Bills are a better team. So bulletin board material right there.
Let's do it. Mike Vrabel will use it for sure. So no, we appreciate all the support. No, it's been a while, but make sure that you guys have notifications turned on. So when we do go live or when we do upload a video, you guys can watch it and stuff, but excited. Go Patriots. Hopefully they pick up the win this week. And we can hop back on next week or something and talk about, locking up the AFC East. Maybe we'll have a little celebration, AFC East championship celebration party.
I'd love that. I would love nothing more than that.
Maybe the Red Sox will have signed Bregman by then too. It'll be 2 parties.
Oh my God. That's all I want this weekend. I want Pete Alonso, Alex Bregman, and the Patriots to win. That's all I want. Is that too much to ask?
Maybe. If you had to pick one, which one?
Patriots.
All right, good.
And then the next week sign Alonso and Bregman.
Okay, we'll spread it out. You can't have all your luck in 1 week.
Yeah. I don't want to push it too much.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right. Well, we appreciate it, guys. And until next time, we will talk to you guys later.
Thanks for listening to this edition of the Patriots Drive podcast. Follow us on social media to stay up to date with all things New England Patriots. Make sure you tune in to the next episode and check out patriotsdrive.com for more great content.
We're on to Cincinnati.